Am I live? Oh wait, hello? Am I live? Hello? Hello? Okay, hopefully I'm live. I'm not too sure this thing is working or not. But okay. Hey everyone, Nintendo Nos here once again, back for another video. It's been a while, honestly, since I've actually done like an actual in-depth discussion video. Um, yeah. If you didn't see my game stream, I believe it was on Saturday. I mentioned that I was actually busy with school last week. Actually, it was a little hectic, honestly. I had a couple of tests the whole week, and yeah, I was a little hectic, and busy with all that studying and all that good stuff. Well, good stuff. But yeah, so luckily that was done. I actually, thankfully I did pass them. So it's always a good thing to pass. But yeah, so I mean, everything's fine now, and now that the tests are over, now I can kind of focus. Well, still obviously with school, but now I can actually have a little bit more time in terms of the streams. But anyway, not sure if y'all see anything different on this stream this time. However, actually, I'm using some new streaming tech or devices. One for example is what you're seeing right now is the camera. I think it's a little bit more better than the other camera I had. Um, I know it's not. I know it's at 60 or something with the 60 frames per second, but I know it's running at 30 frames. And even though despite it's not that big of a change, you can probably say I do see a little bit more clarity regarding the whole the viewing and all that good stuff. So hopefully, yeah, hopefully that is a little bit more better for you all to see around it. I'm not sure how, because I was trying to figure out earlier how to, like, I guess crop the viewing angles a little bit. However, I was not able to figure that out before today's stream. So I'll definitely have to check that out sometime. But I did kind of lower the resolution for today's stream and probably even for all this week's streams, just so that way I can, and it gives me time to focus on how to actually lower down the viewing angles. Because if I do the full 1080p, I'm not lying, it actually just shows you the whole room, and well, that's not my intention. Yeah, I really don't want it to be like too wide for you all. Which actually it may come useful in some points in future streams. But for now, I just want to keep things simple, short, a little bit condensed, so that way y'all will just focus on basically seeing me instead of the whole entire room itself. But yeah, anyway, hopefully y'all had a good week, like a weekend. Like I said, also I'm actually using another microphone. Since I'm not using any more headphones, I'm already done. So let me just show you real quick. I actually just got this today, and this is the if I can just show real quick, the Blue Dio. Oh, I'm sorry, not the Blue, the Yeti microphone, Yeti Blue microphone. And so yeah, so from now on I'm gonna be using this in terms of to actually chat with you all and use my voice. It definitely is a lot better than using headphones, and definitely makes it a lot more easier. And that way, I think by using this when I do game streams, it should be a little bit more easier, and I probably won't have any audio issues at most. So hopefully, with this new microphone, this will probably help out a lot in terms of streaming gameplays. But anyway, so yeah, that's all the new devices that I currently have. There's still some stuff that I need to get. However, for now, I'm pretty satisfied with this. This is like the main essentials that I kind of, feel like will be best in terms of at least like a decent stream wise. So I mean, yeah, I got the microphone, I got a new camera, and with the Elgato, I think I'm pretty set in stone for now. So yeah, so we'll keep it like that for pretty good while on that, and hopefully y'all will stick around and enjoy the streams. But anyway, regardless, so overall my weekend was pretty good. I did get some new stuff as well. Actually, even today. In fact, if you follow my social media page, I actually kind of briefly told this in the stories in my Instagram. I actually kind of got. The thing is, I was supposed to actually get Link's Awakening. However, with the something with issues with GameStop, I don't know what. I mean, yeah, I did get this from GameStop. I'll admit that. Which I usually don't normally shop in GameStop for one. However, if it's like limited editions or special editions, why not? So this was one of the occasions I shopped at GameStop, but I did order Link's Awakening. The problem with that is, one, it came in late than it was supposed to, and second, since I barely got it today, I don't know if y'all can see this. Hopefully you can. The box is kind of damaged all over, and I mean, I can even see like in the bottom. I'm not sure if y'all can see that, like in the bottom, and like even like in the front right here, it looks like the box was almost intentionally like almost like in half, which I mean that's definitely a known like definitely negative for me. Again, the inside contents may be perfect condition, but for me kind of being I guess specific and like in terms of like the conditions things are, I do kind of like them to be in brand new condition, because I mean that's what you expect when you buy them. Sure, like for example, like it can have like a small dent or anything like that, but I mean like this whole box is just not right in my opinion. So I called them earlier today. Luckily they didn't have no problem helping me out. They did give me, well, actually, after the hour-long wait on the phone, which I don't know why it's actually long waiting times for some reason. They never were like that. I don't know what's wrong with these waiting times now. But anyway, so yeah, I did give them a call earlier, and they told me that they would replace it for me for free. So obviously I'm going to send it back to them. Hopefully by tomorrow I will, and they'll be sending me a replacement. And they also kind of give me a $10, coupon for the troubles, which not too bad, not too bad. So I mean, yeah. So I mean, that I guess that's a good thing for GameStop, right there. But yeah, I mean, I guess that's kind of one of the risks in online shopping in general. You never know what you can get until you basically get it. But yeah. But anyway, so enough about that. I think that was all the quick updates I kind of wanted to do with you all in terms of in general. So again, today I'm going to talk about something a bit, a little bit of a serious topic, and I kind of have to, and it's still with school, obviously, for those who don't know, I'm in college, college university. I know I kind of like go through the different, I say the both differently. However, I just think that both are kind of like the same in some way. But yeah, so anyway, I've been in college for about 3-4 years, and one thing that I've noticed is that well, when I graduated high school and wanted to go into college for nursing, and well, also I guess FYI, for those who don't know, I do have a visual disability. If you haven't checked that live stream, do definitely check it out. It's one of my first live streams I ever did. And I mean, I kind of went into more detail in terms of my disability, and kind of go things like what specifically I have. But anyway, so anyway, I do have visual disability in general. But when I started college back in 2016, 2016, it was my first semester. I kind of wanted to know ahead of time if I would be able to be into the nursing program. And regardless, I always kind of knew, even well, obviously to this day, but back then when I was really gonna start out, um, I kind of wanted to, know if I was suitable for nursing. And not suitable by me, like I don't know if if I'm allowed to, but basically if my disability, despite my disability, I'll be able to succeed within it. And actually, before I even continue, for the purposes of this, I will be like in general in terms like who I spoke to, who what college, and all that stuff, university, whatever. Um, just for the sake of reason, for my own safety and for everyone else's safety, I don't want to go into detail. But and the reason why I'm telling this story, the reason why I'm telling this is because it needs to be addressed, and I'm seeing it more and more recently, and even I've experienced it recently, and that is what I mean. That's what the story is gonna basically talk about. But anyway, continuing on. So when I started college initially, the first semester, I wanted to know if I was suitable for nursing. So what I did, being really get good in terms of like getting ahead and getting my answers ahead of time before you know going through all the classes and all that stuff. I spoke with the nursing department within my my college, and so when I went in for my for the nursing class, nursing department. I spoke with someone who basically kind of makes the decisions, who gets accepted and who doesn't. So I figured, that's actually a good, pretty place to start from there. So I did that, and initially I was actually well happy. They told me that despite you having this disability, you're a perfect fit for this for a career. While we never personally have had a person with a disability at all, we wouldn't mind you being the first person to be in the program. So that is what I did, and I mean that's what they told me, and you know what, I was well happy. And knowing that despite my disability, and it's good to guess. Again, even though back then and even till today, I still like kind of know the laws technically. It doesn't hurt to get feedback, and the reason why I say that is because it tells you if they're kind of willing to work with you. Um, and it tells you if they are, willing to kind of at least help you and guide you, through it, because it won't be, obviously it won't be an easy task for someone with a disability in general. But it's good to kind of get that reassurance. And that's kind of basically what I wanted, from that department. So obviously, when they told me that, I was like, okay, you know what, that's good. I moved on. So fast forward like 3 years later. This is my fourth year. For those who don't know. And so now that I'm kind of basically done with all my, they call it prerequisites, which is basically the classes or all the criteria needed to enter the nursing program. I kind of completed all that except for an exam, which is, it's called the HESI exam, but I'll probably explain that a little bit more, maybe in a separate live stream video. But regardless, that's only kind of criteria I need. Just one section of the exam left. But regardless, I basically finished all the prerequisites. So I kind of figured, you know what? Why not get another opinion? Well, not another opinion, but I guess like an update opinion, seeing how I will be able to manage, doing everything. Well, I kind of went in last Monday, and if you follow my social media, you'll probably know I kind of like I talked briefly, of what I meant, in that day. Um, yeah, that day it kind of made me confused, and not in a good way. Now, again, what I believe is that a person with a disability does not mean that they cannot do anything. But again, kind of just I don't want to get too ahead of myself. So anyway, I set up an appointment to kind of get a an updated opinion on the same college university that I am currently going to. So I did that, and unfortunately, the person who I spoke to when I started college, I believe they retired or something like. I know they weren't working there anymore, but I'm pretty sure they were retired at that time already. Knowing that when I went in to speak with them for the first time, they had already been working there for maybe like 20, 30 years already. So yeah, I'm pretty sure retirement was already for that person. But either way, regardless, so I spoke with someone different, and when I spoke with when I spoke with that other person, they gave me a different answer than I was hoping for. And the way they kind of described it, it really wasn't, I guess, reassuring. Now I will admit, yes, while they did listen to me and kind of understood my points of view, to them it seemed like they couldn't or they didn't want to put up with what I was, my disability was. Now, again, I'm not the type to talk negative, obviously. Um, However, when I spoke with that person, they said, they kind of kept like asking me, like, do you have a plan B? What do you want to do, besides nursing? Is there anything else, you want to do, besides nursing? And obviously, it's always good to have plan B in general. I personally did have a plan B. However, obviously, I kind of want to go into nursing more because one, I'm a bit more knowledgeable within the field, and I kind of just have I have the passion for it still. But anyway, so I told them my second plan, which it's actually psychology. That's why I'm kind of doing like the minor thing right now because I'm interested in that as a second degree or second minor, things like that. But anyway, so yeah, so I did tell them that my second career was not career. My second plan was psychology. So I told them that, and they said, okay, well, based off what you told us so far, within my disability and all that, they kind of kept saying that you may want to consider going with your second plan, and they kind of kept saying. I mean, they weren't saying it like in a negative way. They were just kind of trying to not sound too harsh, which again I kind of understand that. And while yes, I do appreciate all that, all that stuff. They kind of kept pushing, saying you might want to go with your second plan. And in fact, hold on, guys. I do need to do something real quick, so I'll be taking a quick break. Give me 1 second. Okay, am I back? Hopefully, I'm back. Okay. So I apologize for that, everyone. Actually, I had something in the oven, and what is it? I had a quick call also to answer. So busy person. What can you say? Um, So anyway, so what was I? Oh, right. So basically, what I was talking about was, so yeah, when they told me that, I was, they told me that, you might want to go with your second option. You may want to, there's other fields within the medical field. They said, there's biomedical sciences, there's, the social worker, and, there's, uh, what is it, clinical psychologist and all that good stuff. Um, However, and I mean, they kind of kept pushing towards that, you know, for me to choose that second path. And I mean, just by even the responses, it didn't seem like they were even willing to kind of, like, even if they were to accept, my application, it didn't seem like they would be working around my, my disability wise. Because I mean, they kind of kept referring it to like, well, it will depend on the committee. Because basically how it is that when you apply, I'm not sure this is how it works when you applied for any job or school in general. There's like a group of I'm guessing a group of people that that makes the decisions whether or not you're accepted for the job, for the school, or like in this case for like the nursing. I mean the school, nursing school, basically. But yeah, that's what they told me. Yeah, it just depends on the committee, what they think, what they feel will be best. So from there, it kind of didn't really give me the answers I was hoping for. And when they were telling me like those things, I was thinking to myself, I mean, obviously I kind of stayed calm, and all that good, and try to not just remain calm, and things like that, because I'm not even the type of person that gets angry, but I just get confused and like you know I guess like anxious real easily, because I kind of start wondering like, okay, wait, what, like what am I supposed to do now, but anyway, so yeah, I mean, when I heard that, I was like, okay, what am I supposed to do now, you know I mean, in beginning, when I started college, university, I was told one thing, that yes, I'll be able to do it. We'll be able to work with you, and we would help you with anything that you need, and and all that positivity stuff. Um, However, now, um, they would tell me something completely different. I mean, yes, it was a different person, but still, I thought they would have the same motives, as the previous person who I spoke to. So at that point, I was like, okay, you know what? I was confused. I was confused. I just thought, should I just, go for something else at that point, or should I, try another school perhaps? And because I know, and again, and I guess this is kind of where I'll speak about a little bit more. Legally, I can always fight for anything as any if they were to kind of deny me for anything that I wanted to do. Legally, I could fight for that. And because I'm not sure if y'all know, but there's like American with Disabilities Act, and um, so many laws around the states and all that good stuff. Well, I mean, not, all that all those you know things, and that kind of help people to be like equalized within the U.S. and all that stuff. I knew that what, I could fight for it. However, at the same time, I was still kind of like on the fence, like, okay, I mean, but they would. I was still on the fence because they told me this, so I mean, does it seem like they would even be willing to work with me in the first place? And that's kind of why I kind of titled the video "Mid-College Crisis." It was kind of like a play on words, per se, because midlife crisis, but obviously it's not the case. Actually, if you actually search up the term "mid-college crisis," there is actually like some information regarding it. However, that's what. But I mean, obviously, it doesn't mean the same thing as midlife crisis. I just kind of named it that title because I'm kind of like halfway done with, my college plan, but I'm kind of stuck to this point. I was kind of stuck to this point. Like, okay, what am I supposed to do now? But anyway, so but yeah, at that point I was like, okay, I don't know what to do. So I figured, you know what? Let me look this up because for me, I'm actually good at like researching things. And for me, I knew back in my head, I knew for a fact that there is people out there with a disability, and they are doing just fine with accommodations and devices. Um, and so I looked it up, and sure enough, there is people who currently are in the medical field, who are who are nurses. There's even one who I found out who was even a doctor who is completely blind themselves, and they were going for medical school, and they went ahead and do it. I don't know the outcome for him currently right now, but it was kind of about like 15 years, like, yeah, 10, 15 years ago that I saw that that article was posted, and when I saw that, I was like, wow, I mean, but but anyway, regardless, I was kind of like in that stuck phase. In other words, like, I spent all this time doing these classes and all that stuff. What do I do now? So what I decided to do was to kind of go to the a second college university. And the reason is because, again, I'm the type that does not give up that easily. And when I know that there is a way around the like the general, I guess feedback, or general, uh, what is it, skills required to, be a nurse, I knew for a fact that, what, with devices and accommodations, nothing is impossible. And again, with the research I did, I knew for a fact that there had to be there's no way for me to be denied because of my disability. I mean, again, do I see perfectly? No, of course not. I do wish I could, but you know what? I have what I have, and you know what? I know that it's that for a reason. So I decided to go to a second opinion, to a second college, university, and that's what I did. So today, again, if you follow my Twitter specifically, I kind of gave like a little bit I guess like a hint, and knowing that I was gonna speak with someone, so I did that, and you know what? It actually was totally different than what I even imagined, and I'm saying that in the best way I've actually heard in a while. And I mean, I was just speechless then, and I was speechless at the end. Well, when I left the building, because while yes, the second college university I visited today, I will admit it is a little bit not that high of a degree, because the first or current college that I'm currently in offers the BSN, which is Bachelor's in Nursing. And while the second college university that I visited today, they only offer associates in nursing. But at this point, I mean, you know what? Would you rather, try and fight for something that, it's going to take a while? Because, it's definitely going to, take some time, to kind of fight for, get someone, get a lawyer. I mean, I'm not too sure. I'm not really, too familiar with the legal system myself. But I mean, again, as far as like knowing my rights in terms of like my accommodation or my disability, I know it will take some time either way if I were to fight that. So, but regardless, it's something. And you know what? I mean, obviously, I can just go for when I get my associates, I can get into the next step, obviously, and going to the next step, it's actually quite easier than doing it the full way. And either way, even if I do the associates, I'm kind of ahead technically, you can say, since I was doing all these classes in my first college university for my bachelor's. So in a way, it's kind of like a plus plus for me in terms of if I went my associates. And when I go for my bachelor's afterwards, and since I'll already be a registered nurse already, I won't have to take like the core classes since I've already done them already currently. But anyway, so yeah, so basically what they told me back then, I mean, what they told me earlier today, it was real surprising. They told me that, and this is the awards specifically. Legally, we can't stop you from what you want to pursue. And well, first off, that was actually something that I was like, okay, they completely understand what they why I was talking with them in the first place. And after like showing my feel my disability a little bit more specific, they said okay, well, you know what, even with your limitations, who knows if excuse me, who knows if you can do this, excuse me. So I mean, that's why it doesn't hurt to try, to try and do these things. Obviously, the hardest part will be the clinical side, because that is where obviously well, you'll be doing the more hands-on approaches. However, we can certainly help you out. That's why we wouldn't mind letting you try it out. Doing trying to do the full potential, in other words. And from that, I was like, wow, I mean, this second college university, they seemed like they do understand. And I mean, despite the legal, obviously what they mentioned in the first place, they did like what really interesting, like, okay, what disability do you have, what is the specifics, how do you kind of get around all that stuff, on your regular classes currently, what is your other health conditions, because side note, I kind of do have other health conditions, which I may disclose in another future live stream, but that won't be till the long run. But anyway, so yeah, they did ask me all those like questions, like, and from that, I knew for a fact that what it's because they were genuinely curious and supportive, in a way. And that's why I was like, wow, I mean, these people, I mean, this second campus college university, they seem to genuinely care. And while yes, they did also admit that they never had a student with a disability, in terms of, well, I didn't ask in general, but in terms of my extent, they said my extent. They did mention that, that yeah, I will be definitely the first one, but it will be a very exciting and interesting experience to do. So from there, I was real happy. I was real, relieved, knowing that this second college university would accept me for who I am, despite my disability. And from there, they kind of told me like what I need to do, and they even asked like to see my grades, and they were really impressed. They asked me how was my first HESI test, because I did take the HESI exam first, but unfortunately I missed it by one section, which I will be takes pretty soon. So I told them the grades, and I mean, they said, wow, I mean, they were shocked. I mean, they literally kept like looking at each other, and I was just by that, I was knowing that, you know what, they seemed really impressed as to how far I've come, despite, you know, my disability, and that, yeah, I mean, that they will, you know, that they would be willing to work with me. So from there on, I mean, when I got, you know, from there, they told me, you know, okay, you have to do this and this, you know, to fill out the application, and you know, and they said that would, you know, even if we, they said as long as we also keep doing like these like little meetings, that will probably be a lot helpful in terms of, like, you know, as you progress through the program, if you're accepted, when you do the application. Um, but I mean, yeah. So I mean, I mean, that's what happened, you know, in today's meeting. And when they told me that, and when I left, I was like, wow, you know, I was really amazed, and yet I never like felt so amazed yet relief at the same time. Only because I was just wow, you know, um, because I didn't expect. I mean, again, legally I expected, but you know, in terms of like actual, like the people, you know, the thoughts, you know what I mean, like, you know, reassurance, like, you know what, that they are willing to kind of support me, despite, you know, this, you know, despite my disability. And sure enough, they gave me the answer I was, you know, more the answer I was hoping for, and I was well happy, you know, and now I'm kind of like, okay, so now, you know, I have to get ready, I have to, you know, already do this and all that stuff. So next month, I'm hoping to already apply for their program already, and if, you know, if everything goes well, crossing fingers, I'll be starting in January finally for, you know, the actual nursing program, not bachelor's but associates. But again, it's a start, so you know what? It's better than nothing and waiting for like a year or 2 more years to fight for the bachelor's. For my first college university that was a little bit, you know, unsupportive about it, I'll admit. But yeah, so that was something I kind of wanted to discuss, a little bit like of an update, and to kind of like sum up the story, kind of like to sum up my point of this whole story. For those of you who have a disability, or even in fact for those of you who don't, um, seriously, do not let no one discourage you, no matter what they tell you, on what you can or cannot do. Um, because believe me, I have been there. There have been some instances, even when I was in grade school, that, you know, I was denied something because of my disability. And obviously, since I was younger back then, I didn't know, you know what my rights are, were, or anything like that. Despite, you know, I was born with my disability, but I didn't, you know how to say it. But yeah, that's what I was told. I mean, that's what, you know, I'm trying to say is that don't be discouraged on what other people tell you in general. And for those with a disability, do try and Google or search up your rights in terms of what you can and cannot do within that particular field of what you want to become. And the reason, and I mean, basically of what I've experienced so far, that's the reason why I'm saying that, because again, there's not that many people, there may not be that many people who are, you know, visually impaired, at least to my extent, or even worse than I am, you know, that are nurses. However, there is no limits to what you can and cannot do, especially in today's world. That's why those devices, I've seen devices that talk with you. I've seen devices that actually help you see like the veins in people's skin more easily, to draw blood, you know, to give IVs and things like that. But I mean, just as examples off the top of my head, which actually I've never seen that device in person yet. I actually would like to someday, because who knows, maybe it'll actually be a good device for me to check out pretty soon. But yeah, that's what I'm trying to say, everyone. That, you know, for those with a disability, do please look into your rights, or search up in general what your disability rights are, and look up at those people within your profession or basically whatever you want to do, and see if it's possible. Because believe me, there shouldn't be no limits. I mean, besides the obvious like driving. I mean, yeah, driving. That's understandable. You're operating a dangerous vehicle. Even I can't drive personally, and I'm not fighting for that because that is kind of like a common sense type of thing. But again, in general, in terms of your your disability, do check out what you can and cannot do. In terms of, and if someone denies you or if someone rejects you for that, do look around and see what you can do to kind of, I don't want to say beat the system, but kind of do it the way it should be done to have an equal chance in this walking world. To kind of sum up, and because yeah, I do feel guys and girls, that everyone deserves a chance, whether you have a disability or not. You shouldn't be rejected just because of who you are. I mean, I know, and that's why I'm like real positive that I know it's not impossible, because I've even spoken with my specialists that have treated me over the years, ever since I was born, with my visual impairment and other health conditions, and they support me 100%. And I know that they wouldn't be just saying that just to make me feel better, because that's, well, I mean, that's, I mean, that's not, I don't think that's unethical in a way, but I mean, in general, they know that, I can do it if I made it this far as well. And you know what? I know it isn't. I personally know now that, no matter who says it's not, no matter who says it's impossible, it is not impossible. Look out into, other colleges, other workplaces, other, cities, states, whatever you can do to fight for what you want to do in life. And that, excuse me, that was my last resort. And that was to kind of like go, up north to kind of see, okay, what other places are there that, possibly will accept me. But again, I mean, at this point, there's no need for that, yet. But I mean, yeah, like I always kind of had plans, in case something did not go the way it should have been. And like with this situation recently, for example, that happened, I out of my mind, okay, you know what, I already have I had a plan to kind of fight for this in the end, and to kind of get things the way it should be ever since the start. So yeah, so that is my advice to you all with or without a disability. Don't let others discourage you from what you want to do or what you want to become. Do definitely prove them wrong. Because yes, I have been through that. I have been told that I could not be doing a specific thing or do specific things, and they and they told me, what, you may want to try a different option. And you know what? Look at me now. I've gone so far. I've got my medical assistant certificate. I'm at the point now, obviously after today, that I'm gonna apply for the nursing program, and by the looks of the application, I feel I'm probably I mean, I don't want to sound too confident either. Don't get me wrong, everyone, but I feel like I'm a good candidate. In other words, to be accepted in general, based on like the requirements that they require, and like all the minimum standards that they need. Just accept that one test again, which I will be talking a little bit more about in a future stream. But anyway, but yeah, I feel like I'm a good candidate, and you know what? I'll be the first person in that in the second campus at university that has a visual impairment, and will be fulfilling my goal. But yeah, so I am going to be doing that within the next couple of weeks now, And yeah, but again, in general, everyone just follow your dreams. Do not let anyone stop you from what you want to become. Um, Again, because nothing is impossible. Do not let anyone discourage you from what you want to do. And I cannot stress that enough. And that's the reason why I want to make this video, because nowadays I've seen people get. I mean, I haven't like physically seen them, because if I did, obviously I would, let them know, obviously the rights and all that stuff. But I've seen like, people online, like, in social media and all that stuff, that that they're getting rejected because of what they want to do, and people are rejecting them basically for what they want to become because of their disability. And and by doing this, like what I'm doing right now, and by going through this, by going through nursing school, I hope to at least hopefully set some sort of small positive message to others, who want to either become nurses or become anything that they want to be, despite their disability, and people have rejected them for that, to prove them wrong. And and nothing is impossible in terms of that. But yeah, I mean, that's the whole reason why, again, I wanted to make this video. And again, that's why I kind of made the title, because of mid-college crisis, because of the midpoints, and everything is kind of, last week I was really confused. I was really, like, I wouldn't say a little bit stressed out, because I was like, okay, I don't know what I'm going to do at this point. But thankfully, I was able to get the answer today that I hoped for, and I'm going with my plan A still, and I'm going all the way. And you know what, I'm really happy, and I guess I'm going to prove that my first college university wrong, that people with my impairment, it's not impossible. And yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to at this point now. But yeah, anyway, everyone, so that's about it for today's I guess update story, message for you all today. I know it was a little bit of a serious one, I'll admit. So but luckily it had a happy ending, and a good overall message for anyone out there with or without a disability. And I'm actually glad I'm able to share this message with you all, regardless. But yeah. So I mean, I do believe that's about it. I guess some other like quick updates before I end the stream. Tomorrow I will be going live once again. However, I'm not sure what I'll be doing live tomorrow. I kind of have two options right now. One is kind of doing my weekly abnormal psychology video, because now that my exams are over, we're starting new sections, and now we're actually going into the actual medical aspects of the different mental health conditions. So this week, for example, it's anxiety, obsessive compulsive disorders, and related disorders regarding that specific category. However, since I'm not done with the chapter yet in terms of reading, I'm probably gonna go with my second option. Excuse me. And I'm sorry, I'm just checking something real quick. I don't mean to like check my phone constantly. It's just I get so many notifications from people. It's like busy life. But anyway, yeah. So I think my second option that I'm probably gonna do tomorrow, and I'm kind of leaning towards is kind of like another message type video, but it'll be a Q&A section, which is Q&A category or series. And that will be and that stream will be about why I'm starting YouTube. Now, obviously, yes, I kind of talked about it in the beginning in my first live stream, but I didn't really go into detail. So hopefully, when I do that tomorrow, it's gonna be a good live stream. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be something that it's gonna be good, positive. Back again with the positive. And also a good message for the content creators that I currently watch, and see on a daily basis that motivate me to kind of do all of this in general. But yeah, that'll be until tomorrow. Don't want to get too ahead of myself. But yeah, I'm thinking around. Well, no, I kind of started a little bit later than I was supposed to. Um, I mean, later than what I will be doing tomorrow. I'll probably do it. Maybe tomorrow. Obviously tomorrow, but like an hour earlier than what I did today. That way, I can, talk a little bit more if I need to, like in specifics. However, it'll still probably be like an hour, like 45 minutes to an hour stream. That way it's a good amount of time. But regardless, I'm looking forward to it, and hopefully you all are too. For those of you who watch these videos, I do have to also thank you. Because you know what, I do appreciate all the support that you all have, given me so far, in terms of watching the streams, liking them, commenting them, and even subscribe at the most. But I do thank each of you for who watches this before or after the streams itself. And I apologize, I don't have a set schedule, but again, I'll be talking a little bit more specifically on that in tomorrow's stream. But for now, I do believe that's about it. Thank you all so much for watching. Hopefully, if you did like this specific video, please like, comment, and if you're interested, if you haven't subscribed yet, please consider that you might want to do. I will be doing a little bit more gameplay videos since I'm at the point of where I'm not like experimenting anymore in terms of like how Streamlabs works and how these devices work, because I'm kind of getting a good use of them already. So doing these like streams, it's getting easier in terms of actual doing them. The only thing, of course, is like kind of getting used to talking with you all. But again, as time goes by, things will get more smoother and easier. And but yes, I'm still looking forward to continue doing streams, videos with you all. But yeah, so far, if you haven't already, please subscribe and follow my journey. This is definitely just the beginning, especially with the good news now, and what can happen, what's going to happen with these next couple of months, because they are going to be pretty quick as time goes by. So so it's going to get pretty good, and I hope y'all will stick around as I share my experiences, my stories, and obviously, of course, since it's half of the channel as well, in terms of anything in gaming, and all that stuff. Speaking of gaming, real quick, I know the state of play is tomorrow afternoon. However, I probably won't be streaming that, and the reason being is because I will be busy in the afternoon, and I could do it afterwards. However, again, since I kind of have like not a set schedule, but I kind of want to stick to what I planned so far. And since it's since it's kind of like not that long of a state of play presentation, I feel it's not really much worth the effort to kind of like contribute to another stream for that. But yeah, definitely, hopefully for the next time, I will be able to do it. Again, as time goes by, things will be getting easier in terms of that. So do please, I do apologize for the wait, but do please, as I still continue to get used to it, but I'm still, getting better. I'm getting better at this as I go along. But yeah, so thank you all so much for watching this stream. I do appreciate y'all hearing this, and hopefully this impacted anyone at least some way. And do please, if you can, do share this with a friend or someone who you may know who feels like discouraged, who feels like a little bit like second guessing themselves on what they want to do in life, because once again, nothing is impossible. But with all that being said, hopefully y'all enjoyed the stream. I do appreciate y'all watching, and I'll see you all within the next live stream tomorrow. So bye guys, hopefully y'all have a good evening, and see you tomorrow.